All right. Ladies and gentlemen, friends who are both armed gunships with philosophical inclinations who are neither, we are all set for Ikaruga by Zello. At your
Hi,
lead.
thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Zelo or Zello, however you want to say it. Never matters to me. This is Ikaruga. This is one of Treasure's great games. This is a shmup made back in 2001 for arcade, actually a spiritual sequel to another Treasure game called Radiant Silvergun. I'm really excited because this is actually my first time showcasing this for any kind of marathon, so we're going to have a fun time here. With me for commentary, I have Ghost Kumo, if you would like to introduce yourself real quick.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ghost Kumo. I'll be commentating while Zillow allows himself to focus. But yeah, so this is a Treasure 2002 or 2001. I don't remember exactly which year. Early 2000s shmup game. Treasure, known for games, as you mentioned, Radiant Silvergun, also stuff like Sin and Punishment, Gunstar Heroes, Mischief Makers. They kind of did a bunch of wacky things.
Wait, these guys
Um,
did Sin and Punishment?
Yes,
yeah.
they did.
Oh, that rules. I love that game.
Yeah, the thing Ikaruga is kind of known for two main things. One, it is the archetypal bullet hell game, which is kind of the subgenre of shmups, meaning that it just covers the screen in bullets. Probably the second most known of the genre behind, in the West at least, behind Toho. And then the other thing is it's known is its polarity switching mechanic, which we're going to be seeing a lot, and we'll probably be talking about it a lot. Um, but you've probably heard Ikaruga being referenced in all sorts of games that use a similar mechanic, where you can change the color of your ship, and the stuff that hits you, if it's of the same color as your ship, does not damage you. So it's kind of this game's main gimmick, and where a lot of the tech really comes from.
Yeah, so we'll get into more as we go, but I'm gonna go ahead and hit start game right here. So we're gonna be playing normal difficulty. Um, we can talk about the difficulty differences at some point, but I will be trying to do a 1 credit clear of this game, which means no continues. Hopefully, I will get extra lives as I get points, and hopefully we'll make that happen. For every death I get, I will donate $5, and if I fail the 1 TC, and then I will donate 50 total. But we're gonna get normal. Time is going to start right here when I click on normal game in 3, 2, 1, go.
Just to clarify, so a 1 CC is short for a 1 credit clear, and that basically means beating the entire game without using continues. It's sort of the arcade classic terminology. A lot of these games are very short, so they have you. So a lot of people say like the point at which you really beat them is when you 1 CC them. There's also a lot of games that's like once you've beaten them with a single credit, they have like additional bonus stuff. Like Toho has like its extra stages. Anyways, getting into here, we're seeing a lot of different things all happening at once. The polarity switching mechanic is what is allowing Zilla to absorb any bullets of the either black or white. I might sometimes occasionally refer to them as red and blue. But yeah. Other thing is almost everything in this game comes in sets of 3. The enemies will generally spawn in kind of sets of 3, and you want to defeat enemies in sets of 3 because that is what allows you to get what you see, this chain, or max chain specifically. Every triplet of enemies that you kill gets you a big chunk of bonus points, and he wants to get as many bonus points as he can, mainly for extra lives, so that if he does end up dying a few times, he has a little bit more of a cushion. But also, like, it's a shmup. You kind of want to go for score anyway. But yeah, when you get hit with bullets of the same color, you absorb them, and you see there's this meter on the bottom left that's flickering. And that allows you to kind of fire like a retaliatory, like homing missile attack like you just saw there. Gonna wait just a very small amount of time to kill this laser guy, just because it makes the next section a little bit easier. Finishing off the little guys and positioning himself down at the bottom. A key thing, actually, like most bullet hells in this game, despite there being a big circle around his ship, the actual hitbox for his ship itself, for danger fire, is quite small. It's only like it's like a small fraction of like the cockpit of the ship, basically. And meanwhile, he can absorb everything with the circle, so it's like you can, in fact, graze a fair bit of fire in this game. So coming up on the first boss here, it's fairly straightforward. Just kind of have to deal with the different parts of the boss itself. And here you kind of just see like the bullet hell coming into play, a whole bunch of fire coming at you. He's sticking to the color of the red ammo firing at him, while the white ammo is just kind of what he's navigating around. To touch on the difficulty, it's less to do with like enemy fire, but like one of the big thing for the difficulties is that when you destroy a ship on easy, like that's just it. When you destroy a ship on normal, enemies will fire retaliatory fire if you are the same color as the enemy when you destroy it, and it'll fire basically bullets of the same color that you are. On hard, enemies will fire everything. So he's trying to go for an S++ on each stage, so getting that there on the first stage is very nice. It is still, even though it is the first stage, it is still, still takes quite a bit of practice to get down. It's harder than maybe he made it look.
For context, I have played this game several times, and I've not made it past the second stage.
Ooh. Oh.
We're a little off chain right here, so I'm going to hopefully get this back on track. Getting those 2 deaths is really costly, so hopefully we're going to get back on track here.
It's unfortunate. Kind of was trying to line up enemies there so that they kind of will basically have like 3 of the jets in front of them in like a kind of in a line to make it nice and easy. So a thing that's common in many of this game's stages is they get kind of claustrophobic. You get into pretty condensed spaces here. Unfortunately, lost his chain there, but you just kind of make a little hole and scoot out of it, and then just blow up the enemies when they're all kind of clustered together like that to really just spike your chain up nice and quickly. This whole section, I mean, shmups are auto-scrollers by definition usually, but this whole section is definitely the kind of tightly navigating around condensed spaces. The white and black boxes here can be destroyed as if they were conventional enemies. So a lot of this game just really comes down to memorizing, like, when certain enemies spawn, how to align them in groups of 3, and then also like when he can destroy his, or when he can shoot his laser to destroy, or his missiles to destroy enemies on screen. Here, getting a whole bunch of chains of 3 by just slightly moving left and right.
I got a little too close there.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm just gonna ignore the chain here and we're just gonna survive for a second.
So in general, the enemies, when you fire your missiles, it tries to home in on the enemies closest to you. So Zello kind of just has a general sense of where they are supposed to go most of the time. So he kind of picks his spots of firing out his missiles pretty carefully.
I could get more chains on the right, but that's really risky, and considering how this run's gone, I'm not going to go for those right now. I'd rather prioritize safety.
Yeah, 1cc in this game is no joke. Like, I have personally only been able to beat this. I've beaten this game on easy many years ago, and I'm always impressed. There's quite famously, like, a lot of old videos in the early days of YouTube, really popular, just watching people do stuff like 1 player, 2 controller, expert, 1C, like high score. Because there are different ways you can play this game. You can either go for like the 1cc, which Zello's just doing here, or you can also try and go for score attack. Unfortunately broke his chain there, but...
Yeah, and this is really bad because I don't have a full energy meter for this fight, so this is going to get really dicey trying to do this.
As the boss indicates there, trying to tell you what to do. The weak point is behind these shields, and you need to shoot them out and then get behind the shields for just long enough that you can unload some fire. So, again, this fight gets very claustrophobic. Yeah, this fight gets very claustrophobic very quickly, so...
to play this safe, like really safe here. Okay, at least got out of that. Really rough chapter, but we at least got through it. Well, at least we have my favorite chapter coming up.
Yeah, a lot of this next level is also going to be going down a very condensed tube. Probably a decent enough time for the hosts if you got anything.
Well, for sure. I would love to tell people about the new incentive we just opened for Ultima 9. I think I'd be better at Roman numerals by now with the amount of Final Fantasy, but Ultima 9, it is to kill or save Lord British. That has just opened up. Gonna be for our Ultima 9 run later tonight, she says, trying desperately to find the schedule. Ultima 9 Ascension, yes, that is tonight. Ooh, that is our second last run for the night. So you got a little while to get that in.
They'll unfortunately losing combo there. You kind of have to get in some very tight fire to get around the those little clusters of 3 enemies of each color. But again, yeah, this whole level is very much just kind of navigating tight spaces and all these moving laser beams. To note, some of those laser beams, when you're absorbing ammo, or when you're absorbing like the laser energy, they can still push you, and that's actually very important coming into some of the bosses that are going to be coming up soon. So now the level's gonna kind of speed up a bit. He's taking the enemy fire and then knows that he has enough to take out the ships with auto homing lasers, missiles. Oh, he's still keeping the combo. A thing I haven't mentioned actually is when you fire at an enemy with the opposite polarity, namely, i.e. if you're firing white at a black enemy and white at a black enemy, it does double damage. So it can be quite important for dealing with certain enemies as well as bosses. So once again, clearing up as much of the top of the screen and just kind of loosely just dancing between the enemies to keep this chain up in groups of 3 and then fire on the white ships. So very nicely done. This part is just kind of not bothering with combo anymore as much as just survival.
Are you playing Flappy Bird?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, really having to tightly navigate around the enemy fire, which at this point we're starting to see enemies that can do attacks that have multiple colors, and you have to kind of weave your way in between them.
There's a lot of sections also in this game where if you do things fast enough, you get big chains of bonus enemies to come, but that bonus area in particular is really dangerous, so I only go for a few chains there.
So the gimmick with this boss is you need to hit all of these like turrets at the edge. And the thing you're going to see Zello try and do in particular here is reduce them down to a low amount of HP, but not actually finish them off. And there's a very important reason for that. This boss, once you start destroying them, gets kind of in a desperation phase and will just fire a big old laser, which, even if you have the correct polarity of the laser, you really don't want it pushing you. So you want to just maximize how quickly you can kill all of the spots at once. So,
yeah, the ring also just speeds up in general as we go along, so it's nice to just be able to finish the fight quickly like that.
Yep, very nice. It just kind of avoids the dangerous part of the fight by doing that.
My point route's a little off. I'm kind of concerned I'm not going to get a 4th extra life. I'll definitely get at least 1 more, but I'm a little worried going into this next chapter because this is the most intimidating chapter to survive.
Mm-hmm.
You don't mind if I swooped in with another little update on our incentives?
Go for it. Got a little bit of time here at the start. It's just kind of more similar to what we've been doing.
Well, in that case, I'd like to remind everybody that our Final Fantasy IV free enterprise incentives are closing at the end of this run. There is one for the harp song. Pats is currently in a commanding lead over Bees. And one for the Zeramus sprite. Arrogant is barely beating out Ofish. That is a $2 30-second difference. That is anybody's game if you want to turn that one around. Got till the end of this run.
Yeah, so one of the gimmicks of this level is that for the majority of this level, like, you're basically just hanging around this giant station, I guess if you want to call it. Oh, yeah, the bullet fire. Yeah, the bullet fire is very small and kind of like hard to keep track of in your peripheral vision, especially with all the enemies here, and you have to really try and minimize the amount of times you polarity swap here, because the retaliatory fire adds like another additional wild card to a level that's already pretty tight on how much space you have. So, not able to keep up the chains, but at this point it's just about survival more than anything. You can get the chains back immediately once you get to this part here with all the
well, unfortunately, that's it on the 1cc. We'll play it out, but it happens. This game is really rough to do in a marathon setting. It's very intimidating. The stakes are very costly, so we'll play it out.
I mean, even a 2cc in this game, even a 2cc is pretty tough. So unfortunate not able to get the full 1cc, but I mean, still get to see kind of the strats that come into play.
Yeah, hopefully we'll at least make up for it on the last chapter, because the last chapter has some really cool strats. But this chapter is so ridiculously intimidating to go for. The mini bosses in this are no joke.
Yeah, the typical shmup like gameplay structure I've always noticed is the difficulty tends to spike on level 3 and then like spike again in level 4. So this is definitely like the part of the game that's like you really have to buckle down and practice and get things down, and it's like even then there's no guarantee. Because again, like, you have to kind of make a lot of micro adjustments with your movement because there's just so much on the screen. And your hitbox is usually pretty small, so this whole conveyor belt section is kind of just annoying. And there is a way to max out the chain for this, but it's so much bobbing and weaving that Zelda just kind of goes for
survival strats.
Survival, yeah. It's more important at this point.
Yeah, the rapid firing of the turrets is a lot more clustered than you'd expect. And I just decided it's not worth it for a 1cc attempt. That was not how I planned to do that, but that worked out.
That's pretty nice. So yeah, you're just kind of destroying the various different parts of the, like, station, I guess you want to call it. I don't remember exactly what they call it. This game does have a story. It's been a very long time since I've, like, refreshed on what it is. But, the thing I do always remember is the name of the last stage is a very cool thing, which I'll explain when we get there, because it's very soon. But we're coming up on the boss where we're going to destroy the core. Basically, he needs to destroy that big blue circle in the center. And the way to actually get into it is to release kind of the barriers around it. And then he has to kind of like tightly navigate around the open section in the center here to avoid getting shot back out where all of the electricity lasers are. But eventually the center starts firing a laser at him, and he has to constantly keep adjusting so that he doesn't get shoved out by the laser. So very nicely done.
Yeah, that first part is the hardest because you have to really tightly get in there, and the gates do have collision until they're down. Alright, so I will get one more extra life at 3 million since our score resets whenever we use a continue, so I will get one extra life. I could possibly 2cc this still, but we'll see what we can do. But this has a long reign of boss fights at the very end here.
So as someone's talking about playing this game in chat, I mean, this game's on like all kinds of different platforms. Zilla's playing on the GameCube here, which is probably where it became most famous, but it's on like Xbox, it's on PC. And yeah, like it's perfectly fine to just play the game on easy. When you play this game enough, it actually unlocks infinite continues. So it's like there is a means to beat this game for any difficulty. And it's just like going for, 1cc or high score stuff is really just kind of how much do you really want to push yourself with a shmup like this. So it's more accessible than like the really hard stuff makes it seem. Once again, the enemy's getting pretty claustrophobic, just working with tiny little micro movements to maximize how much he's able to destroy without having to like put himself in danger.
Alright, that brings us to 3 final boss phases right here. Metempsychosis.
Yeah, so metempsychosis is it is a fancy word for like rebirth, like the state of transitioning your soul from like one plane of existence to the next. And yeah, it's what this boss, when you're casually playing, will make you feel like it's gonna send you to the afterlife. Just kind of trying to align the heads that he destroys here so that one laser fire will destroy at least 2. You can ideally get up to 3 or even all 4, but like it keeps the fight from getting really annoying. This phase here is especially tricky because there's these 2 kind of, I guess I'll call them worms, that wriggle around the space that you really have to make sure that you don't let them overlap too much, because that just kind of creates space that you just cannot go in the stage. And then meanwhile also dodging all of the fire. Like there's so much to keep track of in this phase, and it's probably the most like, or rather the least deterministic, because of so much of it is about adjusting to your movement there. So getting as much damage as you can on the opposite polarity. And this part is just a lot of time switching as there's like a tempo to it. You kind of have to keep up with it as it gradually increases, while also dodging the little spread fire there as well.
Oh, I got through the entire final boss with no deaths. That's really good.
That's fantastic.
That being said, we're not done yet. For plot reasons, we have one more section here.
S rank is pretty good. We got one final section here of about 60 seconds of just survive. So, good luck. Or I guess break a leg, because it's not really that luck-based. So yeah, this is just a matter of survival, and once the time runs out, that's basically time. Zella will call it out. So yeah, some relatively tight spaces here, and you kind of have to really get a feel for it because your peripheral vision alone doesn't really help here. The way these the white circles fire faster than the red ones. Just about.
Oh, are you really serious? I take the death at the very end.
Oh,
This time is 0. All right.
Oh,
Well, that's
unfortunate.
time right there. Well, at least I didn't end up with 0 points because I do get 500,000 for every extra life I had over. So it's and story-wise, we overload our restraint device and sacrifice ourselves to destroy the stone like and prevent the time loop that actually started in Radiant Silvergun.
We have
I love this
saved
last
the
scene.
multiverse. Yeah. Fun fact. So what an Ikaruga is, it is the Japanese name for the Japanese grosbeak, which is a type of bird. So it might sound really cool. It's just a bird. I think that's kind of what they're going for here. Yeah. Hope y'all enjoyed. It's kind of unfortunate I guess effectively 2 game overs, but it's a very difficult game. Even getting as far as we did without dying is a lot of work.
Yeah, this is legitimately like my favorite shmup. I've had this same disc for like over 20 years, and I always go back to it now and again, but it wasn't really until this was accepted for a marathon that I really tried to buckle down and give it a really clean showcase. And unfortunately, things happen because 1cc'ing any kind of shmup is tough. But thank y'all for having me for another PowerPoint Pride. I've been doing these events on and off for a good 5 years now, and I always appreciate being able to come in and support the communities as your friendly neighborhood cishet white passing guy. I'm always supportive of everyone around me, and they're always supportive of what I do too. So really appreciate everyone always being around and supporting each other. GK, you have anything else you want to send off on?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Keep on donating. It's a wonderful cause, and trans rights.
Trans rights, y'all. Thank you.